Ever wake up from a dream and feel like, whoa, did I just peek behind the curtain there? Like, what even was that?
You're talking about those dreams that really stick with you.
Yeah, the ones that leave you wondering if there's more to them.
Yeah.
And today, we're diving into a story that takes dream interpretation to a whole new level. Really makes you think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the story?
So we're exploring the experiences of this man whose journey, get this, from atheism to Christianity is totally bound up with these really vivid, sometimes kind of unsettling dreams.
Dreams and spiritual experiences, always a fascinating mix. So where does this story begin?
Our guy starts out really into Buddhist teachings, calling himself agnostic back in 2013. Then, bam, he has this dream that just throws him for a loop.
All right, what kind of dream are we talking about here?
He describes it as an out-of-body experience, which is wild in itself. But then he encounters this being, this presence he calls the man of light.
Man of light, interesting. And what's this figure like?
He says this figure, radiating pure light, guides him through this surreal experience full of shaking and ringing sensations, like almost like the dream is bleeding into reality.
It's not uncommon for people to report physical sensations during especially vivid dreams. Neurologically speaking, the brain doesn't always totally separate waking from dreaming, especially when emotions are intense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But get this, his cousin, apparently, had a very similar dream around the same time.
Whoa, okay. Shared dreams are one thing, but in this context, it really makes you wonder.
Right. Are we talking scientific explanation here, like brainwave synchronicity or something, or is this venturing into, like, uncharted territory?
It's really hard to say for sure. Brainwave synchronicity, that's when two people's brainwaves kind of mirror each other. It often happens during deep meditation or moments of intense shared focus, but it hasn't been definitively linked to shared dreaming.
So, still a mystery then.
The human brain, especially that dreaming mind of ours, yeah, it's still full of them.
And the mystery deepens, right?
Yeah.
Because for years, this guy, he's haunted by this question, this ambiguity about the man of light. Is this entity, this being, is it good, bad? He's just not sure.
That uncertainty would eat away at you for sure.
Exactly. Then, fast forward to 2017. He has another dream and another encounter with the man of light, but this time, things get weird.
Weird how, this is where it gets really interesting.
This dream is a total 180 from the first one. The man of light is now, get this, described as this unsettling, and I mean unsettling, albino reptilian dressed in a black and red tuxedo.
Whoa, okay, now that's a dream image that would stick with you. Talk about a visual.
Right, and instead of being guided to peace, this time he's taken on this terrifying journey through what he sees as a vision of hell, like full-on grotesque imagery, just a suffocating sense of dread.
An albino reptilian in a tuxedo. Man, that's vivid.
So what do we make of this dramatic, talk about a change in wardrobe.
Right, what do you think? Any interpretations come to mind? Well, we gotta remember, dreams are deeply personal. Any interpretation has to factor in the dreamer's own life, their beliefs, all of that. But, that being said, this transformation, it could suggest this growing awareness of the darker sides of spirituality, maybe even his own internal fears kind of bubbling up in his subconscious.
Like he's realizing things aren't always black and white, even with beings of light, maybe.
Exactly. It's like he's grappling with the idea that maybe there's more to it all than meets the eye. Maybe even these bright, shining figures have hidden depths.
Man, makes you think. And this whole internal struggle, it seems to come to a head about a year later, July 2018. He's out canoeing under a supermoon. Talk about a setting, right?
Yeah.
When he hears this voice, he's convinced it's divine, and it urges him to come to Christ.
Okay, hold on. A divine voice while canoeing under a supermoon. This is intense.
Right. And the words, he remembers them clearly. He says they were, "Come to me, and I will give you everything. Do not be afraid. I will take care of you."
Wow. Moments like this, people often call them epiphanies, right? These sudden realizations, shifts in perspective that can feel totally external, like a message from beyond.
Totally.
Yeah.
So how do we interpret that? Divine intervention, a subconscious breakthrough.
It's tough to say. But one thing's for sure, whether we see it as a message from above or something else entirely, these experiences, they can have a profound impact. And in this case, it leads to a life-altering decision.
Yeah.
The very next Sunday, he converts to Christianity. That's a big shift, huh? Going from doubt to belief just like that.
Right. Makes you wonder, was it just about that voice, that message, or was there something more going on beneath the surface?
It's hard to tell without knowing, his whole journey leading up to that point. But it's worth pointing out, lots of religions, spiritual traditions, they talk about this call, this feeling of being chosen, right? Like you've got a specific purpose now.
That's going to be both exhilarating and kind of terrifying all at once.
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting how this idea of purpose often pops up in, you guessed it, dreams.
Mhm.
After his conversion, his dreams get even more intense, but now it's like they've got this whole new layer.
What do you mean? What kind of layer?
Spiritual warfare. He starts experiencing sleep paralysis, and not the peaceful kind.
Oh, man. Sleep paralysis on its own is scary enough.
Yeah, for sure. But he describes being tormented by these shadowy figures, chanting this all-consuming dread. He says it feels like he's literally in a battle for his soul, but in his dreams.
Wow. That's intense. And for someone who's already seeing everything through this spiritual lens, I can only imagine how powerful, how real that would feel.
Exactly. Sleep paralysis itself is a trip. That weird in-between state, you're conscious but you can't move, can't speak. Stress can trigger it, lack of sleep, even just sleeping in a weird position.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Mm.
But you're saying in his case, it's like his subconscious, all his fears, anxieties, they're getting projected onto this sleep paralysis backdrop, turning it into a whole battleground for his new faith.
It's like all his internal struggles are playing out right there in his dreams.
And then he finds comfort and power, of all things, in calling out to Jesus during these episodes. Like it's a shield, a source of protection.
Lots of religions, spiritual practices, they emphasize that. Calling on divine names, mantras, especially when things are rough. It's about looking for comfort, guidance, a connection to something bigger than yourself.
Whether it's psychology, a coping mechanism, or a genuine link to something divine, the result is often the same. A feeling of peace, of power.
Absolutely, like you're tapping into a source of strength. And it's wild because these dreams, as terrifying as they sound, they're actually making his faith stronger, pushing him deeper in.
And it's not just him going through this. His wife, who wasn't exactly thrilled about his whole spiritual transformation at first, she starts having these vivid dreams too.
Oh yeah, she really gets pulled into it, doesn't she?
One dream, she's given a sword and thrown into this epic battle against these monstrous giants.
Yeah.
What do you make of that imagery?
Talk about symbolism. The sword often represents strength, protection, and in a biblical sense, the word of God, right? And then those monstrous giants. Those could be anything. Overwhelming obstacles, negative forces, you name it.
It's like she's being shown, hey, this path you're on, it's going to be tough, but you've got what it takes. You're equipped.
She's not just watching from the sidelines anymore, she's in the thick of it. And just like her husband, she faces the struggle head on. She gets hurt in this dream battle. It highlights that the spiritual warfare thing, it's not a walk in the park. It takes guts, resilience.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There are going to be setbacks, bumps along the way.
Definitely. Nobody comes out of a fight unscathed. But she keeps going. She's injured. The dream ends before she gets the victory, but that's not really the point, is it? There's a sense of hope, of perseverance. She's in it for the long haul.
And around this time, her husband has a dream that kind of echoes this whole idea of overcoming adversity. He sees people ascending into this brilliant light, interprets it as the rapture.
Their dreams are starting to mirror each other, playing off the same themes. It's like they're both wrestling with these big questions about faith, about what it means to be tested.
And their dreams become increasingly symbolic, pulling from imagery and themes from his faith.
That's super common, actually. When we dive headfirst into a new belief system, our dreams often follow suit. It's like our subconscious trying to make sense of it all, weaving it into how we see the world.
And in his case, this theme of transformation, it's not just spiritual anymore. He starts having dreams that connect directly with biblical events, specifically the idea of resurrection.
That's where his dream world takes another turn. And there's this one dream that really stands out. He sees these believers bathed in this powerful light, and as it washes over them, their DNA, it transforms. It turns into these glowing strands of pure gold.
Whoa, hold on. Gold. Talk about a loaded symbol. What's your take on that?
Not subtle, right? Gold has been tied to purity, divinity, enlightenment for ages. In this context, it could symbolize spiritual purification, like a refining process, elevating them, taking them to a higher state.
Like they're being chosen, set apart. And it all circles back to his growing fascination with resurrection, both spiritually and physically.
Yeah, and it's not just his own resurrection he's dreaming about. There's another dream where his wife appears to die, and then maybe experiences a kind of resurrection herself. It's a powerful image.
Death and rebirth. It's a theme that resonates across so many cultures, but it's especially central to Christianity.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, doesn't it? The cyclical nature of life, this idea that even in death, there could be renewal, continuation. It's a powerful concept to grapple with.
It's like he's finding a way to reframe those anxieties we all have about death, about the great unknown. Through faith, the fear gets replaced with, like, anticipation, transformation.
Exactly. It's not about escaping death, but about finding meaning in it, a sense of hope beyond the horizon.
It's like these dreams, they're super personal, sure, but they tap into something universal. Transformation, renewal, the search for meaning, all that stuff we all think about.
100%. And what gets me is neither of them is saying, hey, these dreams, they're literal prophecies, messages from God. They seem to get it, you know?
Yeah.
It's symbolic language. It's the subconscious trying to process these huge experiences, these beliefs.
That's the healthy way to look at dream interpretation, don't you think? Acknowledging the power of these experiences, but not taking them too literally.
Absolutely. Things get messy when we become overly literal. When we look for specific predictions, messages that might not even be there, it's more about exploring the feelings, the symbols, the themes that really resonate deep down.
Right, right. It's about asking yourself, what's this dream telling me? It's self-discovery just as much as, like, deciphering some hidden code.
And sometimes the biggest breakthroughs, the deepest insights, come from just sitting with the mystery of it all, from accepting that we don't have all the answers.
That's such an important point. We live in a world obsessed with instant answers, clear-cut explanations. But some of the most meaningful stuff in life, the stuff that stays with you, it leaves you with more questions than answers.
100%. This guy's journey, atheism to Christianity, woven together with these vivid, often unsettling dreams. It speaks to that, you know? It's a story about belief, about the twists and turns of faith, about the mysteries of the human mind, mysteries we might never fully unravel.
Makes you think about reality itself, right? The limits of what we can perceive, the possibility of something more out there, just beyond our grasp.
Maybe dreams are one of the few ways we can even try to peek into those hidden dimensions, to connect with something bigger.
Man, that's a powerful thought to end on. So next time you're drifting off to sleep, pay attention, right? Yeah. Those fleeting images, the strange stories, the emotions that bubble up in your dreams. You never know what truths they might reveal about yourself, about this universe we're all swimming in. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time. Same place, same weirdness.